Hello, and yes, I'm back again, and yet with another value, and this is going to be the value of generosity. Now, all these values, of course, I've done on my Facebook page and our the Key Leadership Facebook page, our company. Uh, but I'm redoing them because there's a lot of interaction, and all these values are between 20 and 35 minutes, sometimes even more, depending on the interaction I get from the public. And I wanted just to give you an overview of all these values. And every one of them is roughly between 8 and 13 and a half minutes. There is the odd one, I think, is a little bit longer. One is just over 15 minutes. But I want you to get an overview of all these values. All of them are 2 pages. We normally do a value a week. There's 48 of them. And I want you to feel some of the power of these values. And you can go below this series as well, because if you're watching this, you're already in the series. And below this, there is more and more testimonials from people who became part of this process, the values-based leadership process, which Artie and I have renamed Sustainable Personal Development. They have, and it's also talking into their generosity, because they've either become part of it, they become internationally certified facilitators, which we train, or they've become like us, specialists to train trainers as well. But there's a variety of testimonials there, from young to old, and the impact it's made in their lives and how they're making an impact in other people's lives. I mean, these values are transforming families, they're transforming the person who's talking, they're transforming communities, companies, they're transforming entire countries. So the value of generosity this time is: no person was ever honored for what he received. See, honor has been the reward for what he gave. And that was by Calvin Coolidge. See, generosity is giving without expecting anything in return. She often relate generosity to giving a financial contribution or a donation of material things we do not use anymore. Now, that is a good start, of course, but generosity goes so much deeper. See, donating of things we don't need anymore or we don't use anymore is easy. But don't get me wrong, they're all necessary, because so many people go without, and they're very grateful for all the stuff that you donating, that you're giving away, rather than hoarding in cupboards that, and in the end it's getting casted away in a bin or something like that. So it's very helpful. Clothes, anything that you don't need anymore. But it begins with the way we look at and value others. See, it's not only giving, but it's also forgiving. And sometimes we need to start by forgiving ourselves. I talk into I think it's about the fifth value we did, the value of forgiveness. It really talks into that. Forgiving is quite often starts with forgiving ourselves, but it also has to be done. See, it is treating others better than they might be treating us. Now that is difficult sometimes, but we need to. The only way we're going to lift other people up if we rise above that kind of treatment. I can tell you, because I speak my truth quite often, especially about the situation just now, and not quite as much anymore. But I mean, especially in the first few months, people called me all kinds of names, but I never returned that, because I want to lift them up. And some of them would kind of mellow down and actually, see my point. They don't agree with it, and that's not the point. I give another perspective so people can make an informed decision. But there's certain people who just wouldn't have it, and I just walk away from the conversation afterwards. I stay polite, and at least I do my bit. I respect myself enough, and I respect other people as well for their thinking. I just don't respect their behavior sometimes, because it's not the person, it's always the behavior we're looking into, but yet we blame the people. But there you go. But it is treating others better than the way they treat us sometimes. And it is looking for the potential in others and then doing all we can to help them develop it. That's why also this platform, if you're on this platform, this Cubimo platform, is to help entrepreneurs and budding entrepreneurs to be all they can be. It is not based on our economic status, influence, or talent. It is the highest level of living. And yes, of course, when we talk about generosity, it also talks about compassion, about empathy, about kindness, and so many other beautiful values that we talk into here as well. But it all comes together, and it's being generous of heart, not just generous of mind, but generous of heart, and it speaks to your soul. See, when we are generous, we have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. It's something else I talk about, and it's very important that we, people always talk about how bad things are, and that's a scarcity mindset, what they haven't got, and we can't do this, we can't afford that. All that kind of talk, and there's so much to you. If you ever read or watched the film The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, then you can actually know about it, because the secret is the power of attraction. You are what you think about. You attract what you think about. So does it not make sense that we start thinking differently and start thinking generosity and prosperity? That was the last value, prosperity as well. Because at the end of each value, every week, we talk about thoughts become actions, actions become habits, and habits become your destiny. Does it then not make sense that if what we're doing just now is not working, if the job we're doing is not working because we don't follow our passion, our purpose, and our destiny, our potential, and that can only happen when we grow ourselves, because otherwise we will never reach it. And that's why these values are so important. But does it make sense that we start doing some different thinking? You know, we can't change what happened in the past, but if we start thinking differently towards prosperity and generosity and all these kind of things, into what we really want to do with our life, what speaks not just to our mind about money, but what speaks to our heart about making a difference and feel that feeling of significance. See, we are always looking for opportunities to add value to people or causes that will make a difference. See, everybody who's getting involved in this system is making a difference at the time that they need to make a difference, in a place that they need to make a difference to people who need a difference in their lives. And it's so powerful. See, we not only give when there is a great need, we continually give because it is a fundamental part of our character. And that can be learned. I see it so much around the world just now. I mean, in these last 18 months, all these kind of things that are happening, that people stand up in the communities and they organize their communities. They look after people who might be lonely. They look at, call into neighbors. I mean, they are a listening ear. They care for people because everybody matters. And they show it by the leadership they show, because the real leadership is in the communities. It's not the leaders of countries at the moment or some corporations, because they are corrupt, they're manipulative, and they're greedy. And they do it all for the wrong reasons, and they will fall. Leadership is failing around the world, and that is also in the scientific world. I'm not saying any more about it, but leadership is failing around the world because of a lack of values. And it will come back, because unless you build a foundation of values, a solid foundation of values, in your life, your business, your social circle, you will at some point walk into a brick wall, and people will come back to you. But if you walk with values, if you build on values, you will do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons with the right people. Generosity causes us to actively look for the ways to invest in the development of a person or an idea. Again, that's why this platform is here as well. When you've got an idea, we can help you develop it. We recognize that there is more to life than acquiring money, and that our wealth is only as valuable as what we do with it. Artie, my wife and partner, always says, money is always a tool. It's only a tool. We can always make more money. Time is much more valuable because we can never get that back. But of course, when we have more money, we have more choices. But it talks into that we need to persist on these kind of things, and we need to actually give. Les Brown, Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough other people to get what they want, you'll get what you want. It's a universal law, and he talked into it so much, and it is so true. We need to be more giving of heart, and it's not always about money. But I mean, also in a situation where there is looting and rioting, and it only brought up the problem how many millions of people are actually starving at the moment, and people are given food. In South Africa, it might be, I don't know when you watch this, but it was going on, and it only brought out some great things. Apart from the terrible things that happened, it brought out some great things, because for so long in these last 18 months, people have been in lockdowns, and they've been starving, the babies without milk, and people are dying because of the lockdown. I don't even want to go into the rest of that, but because of lockdown, and so many more will be dying. But when people came together, because the people needed food, and lorries were going all through the country from one end to the other to make sure that people were getting what they needed. People shared their food with others. People were given some of the little money that they have as a contribution, so people could invest in food and cook it and do all kinds of things with them to make sure that thousands and thousands of people would at least get fed. Generosity. It's everywhere, and we can always add to it, and we can always learn how to become better at it. So some benefits of giving generously is that you will boost your self-esteem and may experience an increase in your physical well-being. See, medical studies have demonstrated that the positive feelings that come from generosity can strengthen your immune system. Now listen to this, and improve your emotional state. Is this not something we need all the time now? This is also the reason I did my self-care series, because we need to look after ourselves better and after our health, and that is because we need to strengthen our immune system. If we can do that, diseases can't touch us, or we can fight it off if and when they come. That's what we need. No medicine, no injections. We need to make sure that we get stronger. We need to eat healthy. We need to do all these kind of things. Exercise a bit more. We need to sleep well. We need to have some me time. We need to stop having stress. We need to manage our time better, and all these kind of things. I say, go to my free self-care series here on this platform as well. There's 44 videos on the whole subject that you can all take home and start a self-care plan. But it really helps you mentally, physically, and spiritually as well, by the way, even emotionally. So you will experience a sense of purpose in your life. And when you get a sense of purpose in your life, your energy changes. Everything changes from within. Find your why. Find why you will do this. See, some characteristics of a generous person, that these people are unselfish. Their thoughts are not consumed with how they can benefit themselves, but how they can contribute to or add value to others. See, the gift of giving, the pleasure of giving. And it's a real gift to ourselves as well when we can give. See, the second one is these people are compassionate and have an abundance mentality. They believe that more can always be generated with creativity and hard work. There's three more values. But yes, the compassion, hard work, creativity, abundance. There's always hope, and there's always more to be created. But that happens when you give. When you give, you will get. Maybe not all at the same time. Maybe not when you would want it, but it will come. And some of the joys that you get, because the generosity is also talking into people. There's so many people who became so wealthy and yet they died miserable and empty because they hadn't got any. They had success, but they had no significance. And that happened because they didn't care about people. They only cared about money and properties and all the other things that go with it. Now you can all have them, of course, but when you care about people, when you have that feeling of significance, which I found 8 years ago because of this process, because I finally understood it, success will never be enough anymore. And then no amount of money. You can have significance. You can impact people without having a cent to your name. You can impact people with being in debt and being problem, because when you focus on other people, your problems also seem a lot less severe. But that feeling that you get, that warm feeling of significance, will really help you get through some dark times as well. So maybe that is a bit of a selfish thing, but it is about self-care, really. So then the steps to follow to become more generous: look for and encourage potential in others. See, that already is giving, to encourage other people. When you find it, encourage people. Don't tell them, no, you cannot do this. No, encourage what they can do. Encourage what they're capable. Encourage them to do more of what they're already doing. See, commit to investing what you can to help them develop. And that could be just of time. That could be some encouragement. That could be some of your knowledge. That could be some of your money indeed, but it could be all kinds of things. But commit to it. And the second step is give financially to causes that you believe in. See, be willing to put your money where your heart is. I bet you I thought I was going to say where your mouth is. No, where your heart is. And when you do that, you will start getting a bigger feeling of generosity, even if it's a tiniest amount, even if it's a little bit of time. It starts with a little step, but write down in your diary, what you're going to do today or tomorrow to take steps to become more generous of heart, generous of finance, generous of mind, generous of body, generous in any way you can. Compassion, kindness, empathy, all these kind of things are also part of generosity. What can you do? Who are you going to do it with? When are you going to do it? And how are you going to do it? Write that down and follow through, and all these steps will make you more powerful, more successful in life, because everything changes within the heart and soul. Be generous, and I will see you in the next value. Take care.